Disclaimer, everybody. This is a disclaimer in the initial video that this video contains blood, murder, strong language. There's like a lot of things that is a bit dark, and it starts early. So if you don't like any blood or any like murder kind of things, do not watch this video. You know, watch something else, not this one. Okay, that's it. Bye.
空へ空へ高き空へ向かい咲きし花よ時の上乱さえ踏み越えて酒あでやかに振り向きもせず花は咲いて散りゆくその生き様糸強く潔く愛しき人がごとあされども背負う夢はあまりに重くただ見守るもどかしさこの胸にしまいて今宵も祈る分け合いたいもし許されるなら明日の手がかりはその背中ついの時まで空へ空へ瑠璃の空へ向かい開く夢よ闇にも目覚かる夜桜よ酒鮮やかに
Hello everyone, it's so exciting. We're starting a new series. We're playing... Is the music too loud? Let me lower it for a moment. We're playing Kyoto Winds. Hakuoki is... I played this on the PSP before. I love this game. I only played it once due to all of the like convoluted long story. And like it's not like Amnesia where you choose which guy you want to approach first, and then the story like changes from that. Just basically all your choices will affect who you end up with, and at the same time, your story still follows like a kind of linear story. So I don't know if we're gonna play all of the guys because again, this is not like Hashihime or Amnesia, but we shall see. Okay. Okay, our name. Should we just stick with the name? Sure, let's just stick with the name. I mean, like, we're playing a character. It's gonna be a Japanese name, so let's just go with Kizuru Yukisa. Yep. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents mentioned in this work do not have any direct correlation with actual people. December 1864. The prologue. Hot. I think this is the first time we meet them. Oh my god, if you guys don't know the story, y'all be prepared. Also, I made myself a bit contrast low, just to keep up with the times. So, this is Kyoto. It was awfully impressive, no denying it. Even simple hellos between people passing the street seemed warm and friendly. They nodded and smiled to one another as if family and not strangers were out on errands. Still, there was something else as well. Something making the city feel strangely cool. Almost as though there was a great invisible wall shutting out anyone wandering from the country. I'm not sure if I belong here. No. That's all in my head. I walked quite some distance to reach Kyoto. Both my mind and body were exhausted. I don't know why they're like so slow with the text. It's fine. Even so, tiredness was no reason to minder or feel sorry for myself. I couldn't afford to. Excuse me? I hesitantly stopped the passerby. I'm sorry, I seem a bit lost. Could you... What am I supposed to do? I was lost again, but in a different sort of way. I sighed and looked up at the darkening sky. The sun was beginning to set. People I've spoken to showed me no kindness, and they given me directions I needed, but... was not really the best time to leave the city. Learning the person I hoped to visit had left town caused hope to seep from my crumbling resolve. The only person besides father I could rely on in the city who I could rely on, Dr. Matsumoto. Okay. Should we read the terminology? I don't really want to. Dr. Matsumoto was a doctor serving the shogunate. I had never met myself, but my father put a great deal of trust into that man. He had told me that if I ran into any trouble in his absence, I was to contact Dr. Matsumoto. Unfortunately, Dr. Matsumoto was out on a business and would not return for some time. Was I too hasty? Perhaps I should have waited. It is indeed rude to visit without warning, which is why I had sent a letter prior to my arrival. But it seems he had left before reading my letter. Perhaps I thought I should have waited for a reply before traveling to an unfamiliar city. But I can no longer spend time waiting idly for news. Chizuru. Is something wrong, father? He paused for a moment and looked at me.
実はな、しばらくの間、京の都へ行くことになった。
Is it for business again? He left the house often during that period, sometimes for days at a time. How long will you be
そ
gone?
れはわからん。一月になるか、二月になるか。
No, father. Why is he bald? Oh, there was no hiding my disappointment. Nonetheless, I wasn't a child anymore. Could not beg him not to go or some other foolishness. Yes, I'll be lonely, but I was much more worried for him. Please, father, be careful. They say that the city of Kyoto is dangerous. He only smiled and nodded.
安心しなさい。
Papa!
お前が心配しないように、京にいる間はできる限り手紙を書くよ。
Okay, you promise? Father kept his promise. A new letter arrived so often I scarcely had the time to respond before another would arrive. He told me that he worried about me being home all by myself. That the letter stopped. Where's Mama? A whole month passed without no word. Father, they say Kyoto is full of ronin. It is not a safe place. Usually a samurai is paid by their house, but ronin who report to no house often rob people in order to make them ends meet. They are nothing more than violent criminals who hide behind the image of a samurai. Such is the state of Kyoto, the city of ronin. Small wonder that I worried for my father. My mind would concoct horrible possibilities, and I often find myself depressed and tense. First, I suppose I need to find a place to stay. Lost in thought, I didn't notice nightfall descend. If I'm honest with myself, I hadn't the faintest idea of how long searching for him would take. I brought a negligible sum of money with me, enough to last a month I would, if used wisely. Finding father in the window of time was a must. Otherwise, I would have to depend on Dr. Matsumoto returning in this time, or else I'd be forced to return home without a word. Well, at any rate, I should try and be as frugal as possible. I lengthened my stride and set off on my path. Fortunately for me, men's clothing assisted with keeping a quicker pace than women's. Kyoto presented many dangers to a young girl hoping to explore the city without direction. My disguise, such as it was, proved successful, and I safely made it all the way to Kyoto. So I'm dressed as a guy, classic. Why am I traveling at night though, girl? Such success went to my head and led to me to believe I would explore Kyoto as I pleased. But Kyoto's not a safe place, I should remember that. Instead, I had somehow convinced myself that the city's hidden dangers didn't apply to me.
おい、そこの小僧。
I was about to discover otherwise. I spun around. In the street in front of me were 3 ronin. Can I help you? I did my best to keep my voice calm, reaching nonchalantly for my kodachi. My My father encouraged me to take sword lessons. I kept with them, and I did rather well. I was confident enough in defending myself. However, perhaps my overconfidence in myself is what served the situation at hand at me. I messed up and let my guard down. My fault. There was a chance I could take them on, but there were 3 of them and 1 of
ガ
me.
キのくせにいいもん持ってんじゃねえか
Only then I realized they were far more interested in my sword than they were in me.
小僧には過ぎたもんだろよこせ国のために俺たちに使って
F you, Saburo! But this is... The sword was just some blade I picked up. It was a family heirloom spanning generations. There was no way I could give that to a Ronin, though I had a feeling they would understand. In such situation, the best decision was undoubtedly to retreat. I turned and ran as fast as my legs could.
おい待ちやがれ小僧
Go, girl. They sure don't give up easily, do they? I felt like I've been running for quite a while, but I could still hear the Ronin cursing loudly. I ducked into an alley, flattening against the wall. After deciding they were too close, I crept farther into the alley. Someone left a couple of sheets of wood leaning against one of the houses, a perfect hiding spot. What luck, I thought, kneeling down under them. It's my way to escape this mess. Huh? I was listening for sounds intently. A suspicious calm entered my mind. I expect to hear the Ronin yelling to each other looking for me, but seconds turned to minutes, I heard nothing. I was about to sneak out in a black What? My plan to investigate was immediately halted. Remaining silent and hidden was more important. Still,
くそやりやがったなくそなんで死なねえんだよダメだこいつら刀が効かねえ
it was then the true fear began to set in. There was something dangerous out there. Something quite possibly lethal. My imagination conjured up no shortage of gruesome theories. Even so, I could feel an itch of curiosity. Girl, have you heard? Curiosity killed the cat. I wanted to know what was out there. Carefully, I peeked around the corner. The cold reflection of moonlight upon a blade glared at me, and my eyes followed it to the arm that held it, clad in a coat of light blue. Had this person saved me? But no slower than it appeared, my hope vanished.
助け
I heard the Ronin stumbling to beg for his life. The person in blue coat said nothing, just stepped forward, his sword raised. Yo. This is why I said it's a bit dark. Did I say that? But it's a bit dark, so I should put a disclaimer at the start, maybe. I love him. A high screeching laugh cut the man's scream. The blade fell through the air like a butcher's knife rather than a sword. No skill, just death. The scream turned wet, caught, and disappeared like air, leaving half-empty bellows. My eyes went wide. I had just witnessed a murder. Any strength I received vanished quickly. My legs gave away and I crumbled to the ground. My eyes widened like a busted shell. He died with the first blow, but as I watched the blades fell, carving lines into the corpse. The soft slip of a blade through flesh, a silent creep of blood across the ground. I felt nothing from them but madness. Their only desire was raw, animalistic violence. Whatever they were, it wasn't human. They were broken. Ugh. I could feel my throat clench tightly, and a warm, dark smile brush against my face. Slowly recognized the copper tang of blood. An icy bolt of fear ran down my spine, crawling into my limbs and freezing me in place. I was terrified. God duh. What I was going to do. What could I do? You have to run, Shizuru. No, you don't! Stay behind the plank! I forced my jaw open and drew a ragged breath. This was the only chance I had to. See? My body, still numb with fear, was unresponsive. I lurched sideways against a stacked wood. With a rough clatter, it collapsed. Hell yeah! I love their outfit! So sad. The creatures turned, coats drenched in blood. Their eyes locked with mine and bore into me. Hideous grins split in their inhuman faces, shaking with excitement at a prey to slaughter. Ah! I had to run. I couldn't die yet, but my legs refused to move. Their hideous cackling laughter echoed. I was going to die. My body was frozen with terror. I couldn't even scream. This was it. This was the end. My boys! What? I watched them raise their bloody swords, the moon glinting off the metal. Then there was a flash of light and soft splash of blood. I could feel it warm and sticky. Bile began to rise in my throat. Before disgust so cold, I heard a voice. My voice!
はあ、残念だな。
残念だな。起きた。The words suggested disappointment, but the voice sounded happy.
僕一人で始末しちゃうつもりだったのに。はじめか。こんな時に限って仕事が早いよね。
As he spoke, the strange man smiled, almost as if he were enjoying himself.
俺は務めを果たすべく動いたまでだ。あんたと違って俺に戦闘狂の気はない。
サイト。
うわ、ひどい言い草だな。まるで僕が戦闘狂みたいだ。
He laughed.
否定はしないのか。
The man called Saito aside with the air of a long-suffering companion and looked at me.
でもさ、あいつらがこの子を殺しちゃうまで黙って見てれば、僕たちの手間も省けたんじゃないかな。
Oh, he's hot. He's hot. They're so hot. I love them. His tone was light, but it was confirmed my fears. I may have escaped the schemes overrun it, but I was ensnared by something much
さ
darker.
あ、少なくともその判断は俺たちが下すべきものではない。
Huh? Then, who was in charge of these two? Their conversation led me to believe they were a part of an organization. As I thought about it, I recalled hearing about men with blue coats. Ah! My thoughts were interrupted by a dark shape sliding into the view. What? Oh. I swallowed hard. The moonlit shove off his smooth dark hair. For some reason I couldn't fathom. In that moment, the light on his hair made me think. I don't know why, but Lanchan vibes, right? Of the wistfulness of flower petals. It was almost as if they were cherry trees who were blooming out of season.
運のないやつだ。
His voice was cold and quiet like a blade of ice. Blue-white moonlit lit his slender face and shone from the blade pointed at my chest. But it wasn't the sword making my breath catch. It was his eyes. They were fierce and hard, and somewhere behind them, I could catch a glimpse of something else. I love this! I could have no doubt that he prepared to kill me, and yet he looked troubled. Not kindness, but perhaps
い
mercy?
いか、逃げるなよ。背を向ければ切る。
Hi! I nodded. There was no doubt he meant every word he said. He stared at me for a moment, then grimaced, put his sword away, sighing. What? I was so surprised to stop myself from speaking, and it was quickly becoming apparent that I wasn't the only one.
あれ、
あれ？
いいんですか、土方さん。
土方さん。
この子、さっきの見ちゃったんですよ。
見ちゃったですよ。Cuteness. As he spoke to the man he called Hichikata. Hichikata? His eyes narrowed. Honestly, Lanjan vibes. Love him. Stan him. Should I be with him? I don't know which one I want first. I chose Okita when I played it in the PSP. I loved him. I don't remember his story much, but the man called Hichikata frowned
い
back at
ち
him.
いち余計なことを喋るんじゃねえよ。
Well, that's very long just for shut up. どうしぞ、Hichikata.
下手な話を聞かせちまうと始末せざるを得なくなるだろうが。
Why are they speaking like this? It was clear enough that what I seen was something they wanted to keep hidden. The more they said, the more I got it, and it was clear none of us wanted
この子を
something.
生かしておいても、厄介なことにしかならないと思いますけどね。
He? The way he looked at me made me feel as if he read
と
my
に
mind.
かく殺せばいいってもんじゃねえだろう。こいつの処分は帰ってから決める。
俺は副長の判断に賛成です。ここに長く留まれば他の者に見つかるかもしれない。
Okay. Saito is also really hot. I kind of want to be with him as well. Then he looked down at the creature he killed, as though he'd forgotten the
こう
world
も
here.
血に狂うとはやはり実務に使える代物ではないようです。
頭の痛い話だ。
He peered down at the corpse, his face in an emotional mask. When he looked back up at his companions, however, his eyes narrowed.
つうかお前ら、土方とか副長とか呼んでんじゃねえよ。伏せろ。
伏せろ。
へえ、伏せるも何もこの大服を着てる時点でバレバレだと思いますけど。
He was right. Even I had heard stories about a gang of cruel men in blue coats who cut people down in streets. I didn't know how to confront the dilemma of pretending I didn't see any of these horrors. My mind swirled through, full of worries and thoughts, almost as if being drawn into their world. World where there's nothing strange in carrying on a normal conversation in the dead of night with a corpse for
死体
company.
の処理はいかように肉体的な異常は特に現れていないようですが
Ichigata thought for a moment
羽
before
織
he
だけ
spoke.
脱がせとけ。あとは観察の方で何とかする。
承知しました。
新選組の大使が切り殺されてるなんて僕たちにとっても一大事ですしね。
I love the blue coats though. They give a desired spark of laughter.
あとはここにいた奴が黙ってりゃ、世間も勝手に納得してくれるだろうよ。
That means me. He looked directly at me and I got distinct feelings his words for his companions. It was common for people to be murdered in Kyoto. It was a dangerous city after all. I knew that, of course, but to see it happen, that was something else entirely. If death was such an easy thing in Kyoto, I thought, then the city entirely would surely be mad.
ねえ、ところでさ、助けてあげたのにお礼の一つもないの。
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Akita. Huh? I didn't realize right away he was speaking to me. When I did, my eyes went wide. What do you mean, you saved me? Well, he did have a point. Despite their threats, they saved my life. I stood up as steadily as I could manage, brushed off my dirt off my clothes and bowed. Arigatou gozaimasu. I apologize for not thanking you earlier. There was so much going on, I was a little confused. I glanced up at them tentatively. The man called Hajime also looked confused. His eyes were wide and he had an expression I couldn't place. Ichikata looked at taking a bite of something sour. I sighed deeply before continuing. I know it seemed weird to say that, but he told me I should say thanks, so I looked up. Saito and Ichikata both stared pointedly at anything but me, and the third man was shaking with laughter.
あ、ごめんごめん。そうだよね。僕が言ったんだもんね。
言ったんだよね. Oh, I love it! He broke out in laughter again, so much so that he was forced to wipe the tears from his eyes as he straightened up.
どういたしまして。僕は沖田総司と言います。礼儀正しい子は嫌いじゃないよ。
嫌いじゃないよ。沖田総司。沖田くん。Thank you for helping me. Not quite sure what else to do. I bowed again.
君を助けてくれたのが斉藤はじめくん。それでこっちの偉そうなのが。
わざわざ紹介してんじゃねえよ。
副長、
副長。
お気持ちはわかりますが、まず移動を。
Whatever mirth was inspired was gone. The man called Saito now spoke with quite an urgency. The man named Okita grabbed a hold of my wrist, smiled, and led us down the street. His grip was a touch too tight to be friendly, his fingers like errant cables around my arm. There was no question about my situation. I quickly picked up the notion that if he were to run, I would be killed instantly. My life was in the hands of this strange man. I set my jaw and stood up straight as I could. My eyes crept up from the bloodstained coat and met Saito's gaze.
己のために最悪を想定しておけ。刺していいようには転ばない。
Hi. His words were like a dagger in my stomach. What's going to happen to me? Was I going to die? As we walked through the bleak Kyoto night, I felt horror crawl its way up my spine once again. The cause of my horror wasn't gruesome end that awaited me, but something else entirely. I spoke with this man and watched them speak, standing next to a warm corpse soaked in blood. That I had done such a thing terrified in an altogether different way. Perhaps this is what it's like to go mad. Beautiful. we'll see where we end up with, I guess. Hmm? Is it morning? What happened to me? I attempted to recollect myself. Yes. Right. All at once, the events of previous night rushed back to me. This isn't my room. My limbs were snugly bound in tight knots, so all I could do was wriggle around in bed, twisting the blankets around me. I yearned for the comfort of my own futon, but the futility of such thoughts only forced me to confront the reality of my situation. If only I could wake from this strange nightmare. But I could not. Those men from the night before must have taken me with them to the headquarters of Shinsengumi. What will happen to me now? I inhaled deeply, lying down to wait my fate. It was that moment the door slid open and a kind-looking man stepped through.
ああ、目が覚めたかい？すまんな、こんな扱いで。今、縄を緩めるから少し待ってくれ。
He smiled quirk as he removed my ropes. My wrists, however, were left bound. You are?
ああ、そうか。私はね、井上源三郎というんだ。
井上源三郎になった。Thank you, 井上。
さて、ちょっと来てくれるかい？今朝から幹部連中であんたについて話し合っているんだが、昨べあんたが何を見たのか確かめておきたいってことになってね。
I nodded curtly and struggled to stand, but my body was sore from being bound up all night. Inoue treated me with something like courtesy, but it was clear that I was in a lesser position. He must have been able to guess my thoughts, however, because he smiled at me and winked.
心配しなくても大丈夫さ。なりは怖いが気のいい者たちばかりだよ。
They are. Oh, even at home I heard rumors of a vicious Shinsengumi that were unflattering. It was hard to imagine that people in charge of such an organization were gentlemen.
一番年の若い東堂君は君よりちょっと年上くらいだよ。それに長倉君と原田君という賑やかな二人組もいるから大丈夫。
大丈夫. Despite Inoue's reassurance, it was difficult for me to trust what I was hearing as accurate. Excuse me. Inoue led me to a room and opened the door. I stepped inside and found myself surrounded by the leaders of Shinsengumi. Their eyes dug into me like sharp knives. I stared before me and gulped nervously.
おはよう。昨日はよく眠れた？
おはよう、Akita-kun. Well, it wasn't particularly comfortable.
そうなんだ。
そうなんだ。
さっき僕が声をかけた時には君全然起きてくれなかったよね。幸せそうな寝顔でぐっすりだったみたいだけど。
からかわれているだけだ。掃除はあんたの部屋になど行ってない。
Quite silent, I stared at Okita. With his grin still spread along his face, he glanced over to Saito.
もう少しこの子の反応を見たかったんだけどな。はじめくんもひどいよね。勝手にバラすなんてさ。
I don't think Saito did anything wrong. You, on the other hand.
おいてめえら、無駄口ばっか叩いてんじゃねえ。
ダメだ. Honestly, his face does not suit the voice that I'm imagining. I'm imagining him to be like more soft-spoken. Then again, because he reminds me of Lanchan. I think that's the only reason that I expected that. Ichikata's voice broke no further insubordination. Okita shrugged and fell silent, but the smile lingered through his bright
で
eyes.
さ、土方さん、そいつが目撃者。
The other boys. The man who spoke was, well, he looked more like a boy than a man. Maybe this was the youthful Shinsengumi captain that Inoue was describing to me. I imagined the leaders of Shinsengumi to be older, maybe even middle-aged men, but their faces were still blessed with youth. I mean, in fact, one might even confuse them at first. A glance for a gang of bohemian thugs. Wow.
ちっちゃいし細っこいな。
お前がガキとか言うなよ、平助。
だな。世間様から見りゃ、平助もこいつも似たようなもんだろうよ。
ガキ扱いしていいのは、俺みたいな立派な大人になってからだぜ。
立派な大人って。まあ、新八が言っても説得力も何もねえがな。
Junior barman replied to Dodo with very mocking but light-hearted tones. I somewhat recalled Inoi's description of the two energetic members. His mention of them was brief, but seeing them in person was an eye-opening experience. He said that the short-haired one was Nagakura, and the other with the longer hair was Haraga.
うるさいな。おじさん二人は黙ってなよ。
ふざけんなよこのお坊ちゃまが。俺らにそんな口聞いていいと思ってんのか？
平助におじさん呼ばわりされるほど年は食ってねえよ。新八はともかく、俺はな。
俺はな。
てめえ、裏切るのか佐野。
へへ、新八さん図星されて怒るって大人げねえよな。
Their back and forth rapport seems developed into a rhythm from years of friendship, which predated my arrival and made me foreign here. I sensed something apart from curiosity towards me, though, like a feeling of animosity. Despite their cheerful levity, they had not forgiven my presence among them. Suddenly, I wanted very much to go home. I want to leave this place and never return. My chest tightened and stared down, hoping to wake up in a bed with all of this only a memory.
口さがない方ばかりで申し訳ありません。あまり怖がらないでくださいね。
I love this man as well. Oh, his voice was calm and warm, and I felt myself relax, even only a little bit.
何言ってんだ。一番怖いのはあんただろう、三男さん。
Sanatsu. That's why he's the hottest. As he finished speaking, the rest of the men nodded slowly in agreement. I wondered who could possibly command such fear and respect from these men.
おや、心外ですね。皆さんはともかく鬼の副長まで何をおっしゃるんです？私はいつだって新選組の規範を第一に考えているだけですよ。その規範、ご法度を決めたのは土方君、君じゃなかったですか？
確かに決めたのは俺だ。だが今はそんなことを言ってる時じゃねえだろうが。
And the men called Sanan and Ichikata stared at one another with a smirk.
トシと三男君は相変わらず仲が良いな。
Ichikata and Sanan sounded distant when they spoke to one another, not exactly friendly. Still, the men who spoke had certainly sounded as though they were friends.
ああ、自己紹介が遅れたな。俺が新選組局長、近藤勇だ。
He reminds me of Daichi. I love him. When you say chief, do you mean to say you're the most important man in the Shinsengumi?
いや、まあ、俺が偉いわけじゃない。皆の代表ということだよ。それから、そこの都市が副長で、横にいる三男君は総長を務めていて。
いや、近藤さん、なんでいろいろ教えてやってんだよ、あんたは。
近藤さん。What? He sounds like a thug.
まずいのか？
情報を与える必要がないんだったら黙ってる方が得策なんじゃないですかね。
わざわざ教えてやる義理はないと思うけど。
確かにそうなんだが、紹介しないことには話が進まんだろ
う。Harada glanced over at Gondo and let out a bark of laughter.
ま、ここまで来たら知られて困ることもねえけどな。
Gondo had looked rather disappointed when Hichikata spoke, but he perked up at Harada's words. Despite knowing him for 5 minutes, it's easy to see that this word resonated well with this man. He had a sort of charisma that simply drew in a man who was impossible to hate. I can see that.
さて、本題に入ろう。まずは改めて昨晩の話を聞かせてくれるか。
はい。
はい。昨晩京の都を夜間巡察中に不老の老師と遭遇。相手が刀を抜いたため、一部の大使らが老師を無力化しましたが、その折彼らが失敗した様子をこの者に目撃されています。
As he finished, Saito turned to look at me. I didn't see anything. Even with my insistence, Hichikata continued to stare at me with a harsh glance. And Saito remained expressionless, and the smile on Okita's face didn't change.
なあ、お前本当に何も見てないのか
？Yeah, I didn't see anything.
見てないんならいいんだけどさ。
あれ？ 掃除の話じゃ、お前が大使どもを助けてくれたって話だったが。
No, that's not true. That's over Erokita, but his Valkyrie maid, whatever he was thinking, was a mystery to me. Was running away from the Ronin. Then some people with Sensei uniforms appeared. Really, they sort of rescued me.
つまり、大使どもが老子を切り殺してる場面はしっかり見たってわけだな。
I couldn't exactly deny that. However, I know that choosing to stay silent would implicate me deeper than lying would.
つまり最初から最後まで一部始終を見てたってことか。お前、根が素直なんだろうな。それ自体は悪いことじゃないんだろうが。
I wasn't sure what to make of Harada's words. My presence seems bad for the Shinsengumi. Would their next words be ones condemning me to death for being at the wrong place and time? My voice shook, but I know I had to try. I won't tell anyone, I promise.
偶然老子に絡まれていたという君が私たちに敵対するものとまでは言いませんが、君に言うつもりがなくとも相手の誘導尋問に乗せられる可能性はある。
His voice was still warm, but his eyes were cold. His voice was still warm, but his words were cold, and I began to feel my chances of life slipping away.
話さないというのは簡単だが、この者が新選組に義理立てする理由もない。
約束を破らない保証なんてないですし、やっぱり解放するのは難しいですよね。ほら、殺しちゃいましょうよ。口封じするならそれが一番じゃないですか。
But
掃除、物騒なことを言うな。お上の民をむやみに殺して何とする。
そんな顔しないでくださいよ。今のはただの冗談ですから。
あんたは冗談に聞こえる冗談を言え。
I love him. For being rebuked by Saito, Akita gave me a playful smile.
しかし、なんとかならんのかね。まだこんな子供だろ
う。How old am I?
私も何とかしてあげたいとは思いますが、うっかり漏らされでもしたら一大事です。さて、私は副長のご意見を伺いたいのですが、いかがですか、土方副長。
土方副長。The man looked at Hijikata, listening intently. He sighed and glanced around the room.
俺たちは昨晩、指導に背いた大使を粛清した。こいつはその現場に居合わせた。
それだけだとおっしゃりたいんですか。
実際このガキの認識なんざその程度のもんだとは思うんだが。
けどよ、こればっかりは大義のためにも内密にしなきゃなんねえことだよな。新選組の大使は血に狂ってるなんて噂が立ちゃ、俺らのタイムにだって支障が出るぜ。
Shinpachi's words made sense to everyone. Hijikata's face looked grim.
おい、言葉を慎め。俺は指導に背いた大使を粛清したと言ったはずだぞ。
でもまあ、どっちみち見たことは変わらないんですけどね。
掃除の意見にも一理あると思うが、まあ俺は土方さんや近藤さんの決定に従う。
俺は逃がしてやってもいいと思う。こいつは別にあいつらが血に狂った理由を知っちまったわけでもないんだしさ。
Kyoto-kun. What do you mean everything? Couldn't help but wonder a lot, and the mood in the room shifted to icy silence.
スケ、余計な情報をくれてやるな。
悪い。
ああ、これでますます君の無罪放免が難しくなっちゃったね。
男子たる者、死ぬ覚悟くらいできてんだろ。お前も諦めて腹くくちまいな。
A man? Oh, that's right. They still believe me to be a boy. Everything else that happened, I completely forgotten how I was stressed.
確かに潔く死ぬのも男の道だな。俺も若い頃は切腹したし。
佐野の場合、まだ生きてるけどな。
Their jokes were barbaric, and they both broke into raucous laughter.
副長、結論も出ないことですし、一旦この者を部屋に戻してはどうでしょうか。
Thank you, Saito-kun.
同席させた状態で誰かが機密を漏らせば、処分も何も殺すほかなくなります。
He was right. If I remained with them, they'd constantly hear something I wasn't supposed to. I didn't think he would mention it for my sake, and rather as possible concern for their group. It's relief when he brought it up.
そういうことにするか。ちょっと調べたいこともあるしな。
私もその判断には賛成しますよ。ここには迂闊な方も多いですしね。
三男さん、わざわざこっち見て言うとかきついよな。
まあ仕方ねえよ。迂闊なのは俺らの担当だろう。主に平助とかな。
そんな責めるなよ。俺だって悪気はなかったんだからさ。
His voice is really cute. I could hear that his voice rise as everyone turned to look at him. He looked at them for a bit, then turned to me and mumbled in a voice I could barely hear.
あのさ、悪かったな。
悪かったな。I was still apprehensive about what they might do to me, so I couldn't quite respond to him well. But he seemed to understand and currently managed to nod. It was the most I could manage.
それじゃ斉藤、こいつを頼む。
承知しました。
承知しました。
行くぞ。
行くじゃん。Warrior record has been unlocked. Okay. Thanks. Before returning to my room, I spent some time reflecting upon my taste and my steel-bound hands. The rumors spoke of Shinsegae as vicious men, but they seem more intimate human to me. Still, their presence or their being lingered through me, as if to say, we're not killers, but to protect our code, we must bring death. Remaining here is only bringing me closer to the possibility of them killing me. I do not know if I can convince them to spare me. Just I have no loyalty to them, they have no loyalty to me. Only the Shinsegumi. But then, they mention a man must always be ready to face death. So are they still mistaking me for a man? Could I possibly risk exposing my true identity in exchange for mercy on my life? This could just easily backfire for me, and it could exact an even worse fate. What's really at a loss for to do? Let's not find a way to escape, because I don't think that will bring anything good. To explain my situation, I would tell them the truth. Perhaps if I did, they understand my dilemma. Perhaps they think I'm from Kyoto as well. If I told them I only just arrived in Kyoto, they might lower their guard, or so I hoped. They didn't know anyone in Kyoto, and I only come to look for my father. If I told them I'm a girl, the rest perhaps could wait, but I felt that it might be wise to tell them I was a girl. I took a deep breath and screamed loudly. Excuse me, is anyone there? After a few moments, the door slid open, and several faces appeared around the edges.
大胆だなお前さん。囚われの身分で俺らを呼びつけるなんてよ。で、自分から声をかけてくるなんざ、そろそろ腹も決まったのか。
That's not it. I want you to hear me out.
おそらくあんたの事情は汲めないだろう。それでよければ話すといい。
お前の運のなさには同情する。まあ、成仏してくれな。
ほら、男なら諦めが肝心だろ。
They all spoke as if they already consigned me to death. It was my time to choose me. I kind of want to keep that I'm a girl just for plot. So I turned to Saito. He was cold, but I hoped that he meant he would hear my reason as well. I'm looking for someone. Fortunately, I don't actually know anyone in Kyoto. I only got here yesterday afternoon. Ooh, okay.
つまり夜べもなしに女子一人で人探しをしていたわけか。
Saito already knows. I love him. I think if we escape, we would meet my boy Okita. But I kind of want to play the game as it is and see who we got. I don't want to like just choose Okita out of Okita. So.
今の今日は治安があんまし良くねえし、人探しは楽じゃねえよな。って女
I love that. You figured out?
少し見ていればわかる。あんたの仕草は女子のものだろう。
ちょっと待ってよ。女って本当なのか？
はい。
そう言われてみると確かに動きがおしとやかな感じだったよな。そうだよな。まあ俺は最初から気がついていたぜ。
俺ってやつは女のことは知らなくて、だからその
言葉もないか新八。女関係は最高に疎いもんなお前。
だってよ、最初に言ってくれなきゃ。
ひとまず副長のもとへ戻るぞ。当然だがあんたにも来てもらう。事情の説明は全員が揃ってから改めて頼む。
Alright. He looked at me silently and nodded. I nodded too, unsure of what else I could do. There was surrounded once again with the leaders of the Shinsegumi.
少年にしては華奢で可愛らしい顔をしていると思っていたんだが、まさか本当に女子だったとはな。
Ono was nodding his head repeatedly, as if he were agreeing with a very intelligent suggestion. For him to notice the softness of my feature, it fluttered me a bit.
もう女だって聞いてから見ると女にしか見えなくなってくるんだよな。
しかし女の子を一晩縄で縛っておくとは悪いことをしたね。
Being a lady in this age of time do have its perks, it seems.
でもよ、女だって言うが別に証拠はないんだろ。
え？ Proof?
証拠も何も一目瞭然だろうが。なんなら脱がせてみるか。
許さんぞ。衆目の中、女子に肌をさらさせるなど言語道断。
だがまあそれが一番手っ取り早いと思ったんだ。無理にとは言わないがな。
でもよ、本当に女だって言うなら殺しちまうのも忍びねえよ
な。何甘いこと言ってるんだ。男だろうが女だろうが性別の違いは生かす理由にならねえだろう。
Fair, Hijikata-kun.
もっともです。ですが女性に限らずそもそも人を殺すのは忍びないことですよ。今日の治安を守るために組織された私たちが無益な殺生をするわけにはいきません。
結局女の子だろうが男の子だろうが今日の平安を乱しかねないなら話は別ですよね。
The Shinsegumi had already suffered a very gruesome reputation in Kyoto. The rumors spread that their men were thirsty for blood. Things were likely to go well for them. Kyoto would punish them, and with no one to protect the people, the city will erupt in chaos. Each of their members deeply understood the consequences of behaving rashly in its times.
悪いが、お前の荷物を改めさせてもらったぞ。どうやら江戸からここまで一人で来たみてえだな。荷物はわずかな着替えと一月分の小銭、それと数通の手紙とこの小太刀。手紙には幕府御殿医の松本良順の名前が。おそらくそこを訪ねたんだろう。お前の目的は何だ？
The minute my name was spoken, the vibe in the room shifted immensely. Everyone wore a stunned expression, eyes wide, and no words were uttered in response until.
土方さん、その名前は？
おいおい、偶然にしちゃって行き過ぎだぜ。
まあ待て。それを判断するためにもまずは君の話を聞かせてくれるかな。
At Kondo's behest, I stood up and spoke. My name is Chizuru Yukimura. Under the watchful eyes of the leaders, I sharply described how I came to face them, how I lived in Edo, how I come to Kyoto to find my father. I will only the city felt before I arrived.
そうか。出身も江戸だったのだな。父上を探して遠路はるばる京に来たのか。
はい。
してお父上は何という方かね。
My father is Kodo Yukimura.
つながったな。
What are you talking about?
あなたが持っていた手紙の筆跡。これはまさに光道さんのものでしたが、まさか本当に光道さんのご息女とはね。
You know my father? The silence was enough to tell me that the revelation of my patronage caused a pronounced change in their behavior.
どこまで知ってる？
え？ Huh? What information are you talking about?
いいから洗いざらい全部吐け！何しに今日に来やがった！
I told you! Fighting my father, bitch! I was just came to look for my father. I swear, I don't know anything else.
親父の行動さんが何をしてるか知っててここに来たんだろうが。
I was only aware of my father being in Kyoto for his medical work, but I haven't seen him since last summer. That's all I know.
土方君、どうやら本当に何も知らないのかもしれませんよ。
So what do you know about my father? Where is he right now? Please tell me.
高堂さんの行方は現在新選組でも探している。
You're after my father? So this means...
勘違いしないでね。僕たちは高堂さんを狙ってるわけじゃないから。
I see. A huge wave of relief came over me.
同じ幕府側の協力者なんだけど、実は彼、夏から行方知れずなんだよね。
幕府をよく思わない者たちが高堂さんに目をつけた可能性が高い。
Ah, let an audible gasp, but decided to continue without paying me any
生き
mind.
ている降参も高い。乱方医は利用価値がある存在だ。
I wasn't sure what else to do, so I nodded. My heart pounded, my chest threatening to burst onto the floor.
近藤さん、どうでしょうか。同じ人物を探す者同士、彼女に手を貸してあげてはいかがかと。
手を貸すとはどういうことかね。
高堂さんが見つかるまで互いに協力し合うということです。彼女に協力してもらうことで高堂さんが見つかる可能性は格段に上昇するでしょう。私たちがいくら探しても姿形を変えられてしまっては見抜くことは難しい。ですが高堂さんの娘である君ならば身なりが変わっていようと看破できますね。
Yes, of course. I nodded as I spoke while giving him what I hope seemed like a steady, reassuring
そ
smile.
れに彼女が手中にあるというのは何かと都合がいいと思います。
どうだトシ。三男君の意見に俺は賛成だが。
こいつが本当に何も知らねえって言うんなら。
It's true. All I know is that my father headed to Kyoto. I don't know anything else. But last night, I didn't see anything.
あの乱暴医の娘となりゃ殺しちまうわけにもいかねえか。
His eyes narrowed as he looked down at me.
昨べの件は忘れるって言うんなら父親が見つかるまでお前を保護してやる。
君の父上を見つけるためならば我ら新選組は協力は惜しまんとも。
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much. Never imagined something like this. Was elated to have escaped death, but not only I survived, I found my first decent lead.
殺されずに済んでよかったね。とりあえずはだけど。
He gave me that same wolfish grin. There's no denying that my situation was still less than desirable, but it didn't matter for now. Yes, I am very glad. Again, at all odds, at last I've found help where I never expected it. The Shinsegumi. My first day in Kyoto was quite the adventure. In spite of everything I'd seen, my fortune was improving with every step. I still had a long way to go. Keeping positive was my only hope.
雪村君、よかったね。これからはよろしく頼むよ。
よかったね。はい。はい、ありがとう。It's a pleasure for me as well.
なあ、ゲンさん。女子となれば、ここのような男女体では申し訳ない気がするんだが。
ええ、そうですね。これはちょっと困りましたな。
Kondo crossed his arms and thought deeply.
不便があれば言うといい。その都度可能な範囲で対処しよう。
ありがとう。
まあ女の子となりゃ手厚くもてなさんといかんよな。
新八さん女の子に弱いもんな。
いいじゃねえか。これで豚書が華やかになると思えば新八に限らずはしゃぎたくもなるだろう。
wasn't entirely sure I believed that sentiment.
とはいえここでは女性として扱うのは難しそうです。大使として扱うのもまた問題ですし、彼女の処遇は少し考えなければなりませんね。
なら誰かの交渉にすりゃいいだろう。近藤さんとか三男さんとか。
やだな、土方さん。そういう時は言い出しっぺが責任取らなくちゃ。
ああ、そうだな。都市のそばなら安心だ。
ありがとね。
そういうことで土方君彼女のことよろしくお願いしますね。
てめえら勝手に決めてるんじゃねえ。
Can I change? So I watched her back and forth. Some of my earlier relief began to ebb away. But this while the Shinsegumi had come to look after me. End of chapter 1? February 1864. It's been a month! Mid-February 1864. I slid the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. A clump of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusual strong wind driving them along. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I began living in the headquarters of the Shinsegumi. I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was being to murdered by them, instead I thought it best not to complain. Still, do I really need trust like this all the time? I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They'd given me temporary accommodation, but it wasn't without strict condition.
お前の身柄は新選組預かりとする。が、女として屯所へ置くわけにはいかねえ。新選組にかくまわれている女がいる。そんな話が万一にも広まれば、よくねえ勘繰りをする奴も出てくる。それに、噂を聞いて行動さんを狙っている奴らが、お前まで狙い出すかもしれねえ。もちろん、行動さんが狙われていると確定したわけじゃねえがな。こういう不確定要素が多い現状で、迂闊な行動は取れねえってことだ。だから、お前には断層を続けてもらう。面倒だろうな。それでいい。
Hey. His reasoning was sound. Perhaps more than that, I knew he was concerned not only for the Shinsegumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable.
それにたとえ君にその気がなくとも女性の存在は体内の風紀を乱しかねない。ですから私たち幹部のほか大使たちへも君の事情は話しません。情報はそれこそどこから広まるかわかりませんからね。
I understand the situation, so what should I do while I'm here?
屯所じゃ何もしなくていい。部屋を一つやるから引きこもってろ。
あれおかしいな。この子誰かさんの故障になるんじゃなかったですか？
いいか掃除。てめえは余計な口出しせずに黙ってろ。
For long, I've been there for a week. Guess I don't have much of a choice. No sense in dwelling what I can do after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy, particularly the feeling of wearing pants. I straightened up and touched the kodachi and that Hichikata had given back to me. This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade of my hip stretching back as far as I can recall. According to my father, this was an important heirloom passed by the Yukimura clan. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. I had never cared much for weapons. Weapons are people. It's an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at any incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. All as a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. My father insisted it was a gift of the gods, that I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I've done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could. Before I realized it, I developed a fear of them. My constant need for disguise was frustrating, but my condition left me more unsettled. Still, that wasn't the only thing in mind. The rank and file soldiers treat me coldly. I'm just imagining it, right? I learned having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. It's for a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains. No surprise, really, for the soldiers to hate me. True, I suppose I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsegumi hospitality, so I thought I should help them in some way, but I did not think of soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hichikata commands for me to remain in my room. As one calmed the lonely, restless mind. Same for the soldiers. Whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it appeared as they were giving me special treatment. They were just watching me, to make sure I kept my mouth shut. They take turns keeping watch over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversation should we share? Nothing. My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this day was to find my father. If they promised to help me, keeping me locked up here with the ability to leave was no better than being tied up. Just when I felt I made some progress into my journey, my search was kept to a halt. Oh. Perhaps I thought I could talk to Hichikata. It would give me permission to look for my father. No, that's not right. Hichikata just recently departed to Osaka. If Hichikata's not here, I wasn't sure what to do. Okay. If I were in this situation, right? Let's put myself into this situation. I would search the compound. Because I'm not gonna talk to someone and staying put's boring. As I thought about it, I realized that I had no idea how the Shinsegumi compound was laid out. If I were to live here, I thought, then I ought to make an effort to learn. Took a deep breath to gather my courage and stepped out of the room. There's no one here. I look around, the hall was utterly empty. Then again, since I snuck out of my room, it was probably the best that no one had seen me. Still, I feel a little guilty about it. Perhaps I should have just stayed in my room. If I wandered around the compound, it was likely I'd see something I wasn't supposed to. I already stumbled onto one of the Shinsegumi secrets the night I met them. No wish to do so again. I should reconsider. After some deliberation, I decided it was best to return my room. But as I turned to walk back... Huh? From the near entrance, I heard something. Slowly, I peeked around the corner. Oh! Walking towards the door, looking as they would prefer not to be seen, were Harada and Nagakura. Oh! Can I come with you? If they let me go outside, I could finally start looking for my father.
そりゃ別に構わねえが、お前は楽しくないんじゃねえかな。
連れて行けるかバカ。勝手に許可してんじゃねえよ。
ああ、外出禁止なんだっけな、お前。それより見張りなしで部屋から出てていいのか？
Well, where are you going anyway?
おいおい、ごまかすなよ。まあ、いいけどな。俺らはこれから島原に行くとこだ。
Shimabara? Name was familiar. Wait, isn't that the red light district? Nagakura shook his head with Tsunas at the side.
女の子に向かって島原に行くとかわざわざ本当のことを言うなよ。
嘘つけねえんだよ、俺。知ってんだろ。考えに繰り出すくらい別にやましくもねえし。
お前は酒が目当てだろうから後ろめたくもなんともねえだろうよ。
Nagakura, are you going for something other than alcohol?
いや、その酒っていうかなんていうか、ほら、お酒っていうだろ。
God, she fights me. I don't like it. True. There was likely no shortage of beautiful women throughout Shimabara. Someone like Harada who visited just for the drinks was a rarity, if I were to guess. But you're going in the afternoon?
真っ昼間から酒飲むのも男のロマンってやつなんじゃねえの？
Harada held a natural charm that seemed to shrug off any judgment of impossible. Oh, I can't read. I want to smile. Seems to shrug off any judgment over possible impropriety. Well, even so, I hardly think it's good to be drinking in the afternoon. But if it was every man's dream, I didn't feel right to condone it. Two captains drinking during the afternoon would hardly help the Shinsegumi low public opinion. Then again, perhaps it wasn't any business to think of the Shinsegumi's public reputation.
あのよ、昼から遊び歩くのはあんまり常識的じゃないってお前の言うこともわかるんだけどよ。
はい。
近頃の今日は何かと物騒なんだ。俺たち新選組だってうかつに夜遊びできねえ。
True.
だから常識に縛られず行きたい時に行く真っ昼間から遊びに行くことを迷わねえ
Go shoot my tea! That didn't really seem right. But even so, on some level, his absurd logic made some sense. After all, everyone needs to relax from time to time. Especially if they have worries of the Shinsegumi. If they work at night, then where else they go but the afternoon? I was reflecting upon this when Todo walked in.
あれまさかお前も行くの
Well, I still haven't received permission to leave the house. I don't want Hijikata to get mad at me.
そっかそいつは残念だな
You're going to Shimasawara too then, Dodo?
もうそうだけどで東堂さんとか他人行儀な呼び方やめようぜ
What should I call you then?
平介でいいよみんなも俺のことを平介って呼ぶしこれからしばらく一緒に暮らすんだしよ
Aww.
それにそのデスマスもやめようぜ年も近いからもっと気楽に話してくれよ
Really? I just didn't want to be rude, Dodo-san.
ほら治ってないぜ
Alright then. Heisuke.
そうそうんじゃあ今日から改めてよろしくな
Hi! Yoroshiku na, Heisuke-kun. It wasn't anything important, I knew, but something about the exchange made me feel happy. Heisuke had perhaps unknowingly cheered me up. But you're still going to Shimabara then?
うんそれはそのでも島原だから女ってわけじゃねえよみんなで酒飲んでバカ騒ぎしたい気分なんだ
Sure. Oh.
お前が女の格好をしてくれるんならそれだけで十分に目の保養なんだけどな
あ俺も絶対可愛いと思ういろいろ落ち着いたら振り袖とか着てみせてくれよな
Heisuke? You guys, that's just so sudden. It's embarrassing for them to treat me like a girl all of a sudden, as if it just occurred to them. Just like a girl, I should tell them. Sure, I guess. Not sure what else to do, I nodded awkwardly, and they beamed back at me. I get the chance someday. Sounds good?
本当かやったぜ約束だぞ忘れんなよ
Cutie. Okay. I didn't need Heisuke's advice on how I should dress, considering it was something I look forward to once I get the opportunity, so why did I feel so embarrassed? Once settled the topic of unappropriateness of my wardrobe, Nagakura shared his opinion.
そういうわけでさしてくれよ俺らは汗水垂らして今日の治安を守ってんだぜ
Some very convincing excuse. Despite my reservations, I understood the truth. They were partaking in normal activities for men. Besides, who else to try to stop them in the first place? I certainly had no authority over them. While I was visiting pleasure quarters in broad daylight wasn't my thing, if their superiors took no issue. I was a guest of the Shinsegumi and it was rude for me to try and tell them what to do. But even so, they went out their way to talk to me until I felt better about the situation. They showed me they were good men, with nothing to hide. Alright. I suppose their reasoning made sense to me, and part of me was just envious of them. I too wanted to be free of the staleness in this compound and search for my father.
土産買ってきてやる何か食べたいものあるか
Even though I was still turning the issues at hand in my head, the thought of food made me salivate. Alright then, I like some tangerines. Maybe we can eat them together tomorrow afternoon?
そいつはいいなわかったぜ
土方さんから外出許可が下りたらさお前の好きなとこ連れてってやるから
Well, thank you. But Heisuke, you don't need to worry, alright? Even if you couldn't take me out now, it's the thought that counts. Thank you for cheering me up.
悪いなちゃっくら出かけてくるぜ
Bye bye. Just as I waved to send those three off.
おや、これからみんなで出かけるのかい
All of us now chanticleedly turn our heads around to see Inoue facing towards us.
よりによって源さんかよ
おっとこいつは参ったな
They all refused to make eye contact and fell silent, so I responded to Inoue in their stead. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but no idea what else to say. Are they expecting me to cover for them?
ほらあれだよ源さんあれみんなで素振りでもしようかなって
Heisuke quickly warmed to his excuse, as did Nagakura.
そう、それだ平介。よく言った。今日は天気もいいし、風が暖かいからな。
Yeah, what they said. For the excuse, Inoue
い
reacted.
やはや長倉君たちは熱心だな。せっかくの機会だ。
He looked honestly happy, pleased with the dedication of his fellows.
それは
そうきたか。
Seeing as they were hopeless in getting themselves out of this, I decided to lend a hand. Because they're really going to train? Just then Heisuke opened his mouth.
あ、ごめん。俺もみんなと素振りしたいけど、今日は先約があるから付き合えないんだった。
Plans?
こいつに豚書の中を案内してやるって約束。そうだったよな。
Oh. Was news to me.
頼む。話合わせてくれ。
He gave me a desperate summer look with his eyes like a sad puppy. I had no choice to go along. Hi, that's right, yeah.
ああ、そうそう。そうだよな。
そうだな. His eyes sparkled and he grabbed a hold of my hand and began to walk off. Heisuke had cheered me up earlier, after all. Perhaps in this way I was returning the favor.
待て平介、一人だけ逃げようなんざ。
Before he could even finish, Harada interrupted the mischievous grin appearing on his face.
俺も付き合ってやるよ。他の大使に絡まれちゃ面倒だろ。
Oh, well, I suppose you have a point.
そうかそうか。原田君の言うことはもっともだね。彼女のことは二人にお任せするとして。じゃあ長倉君、我々は中庭に行こうか。
平介のみならず、お前もか佐野。
His knuckles turned white and his face shook with expiration.
よし、逃げぞ。
Is that? What?
新発さんすぐ怒るからな。
Heisuke grabbed my hand and Harada pushed me from behind, and so we were moving away from the entrance at a rapid clip.
裏切り者！戻ってこい！
I love Harada. Agakura shouts were echoing, but the laughter of the two men caused their eyes to sparkle in kind. If it was infectious, I couldn't help but laugh at them, my worries gradually drifting from me. Then the commotion settled, Heisuke and Harada gave me a tour around the headquarters. Agakura alternatively had known such luck. I heard later that he and Inoue spent the rest of the day training, just the two of them. At the end of the day, I think he's a good man. Time stood still, shadows drifting along my wall. How am I going to do this? Solitude was proving detrimental to any glimmer of hope. My heart felt heavier with each moment. How lonely the wistful, forlorn mind can become. I've been set up in a frightening world I don't understand and couldn't possibly control. I can't possibly figure out what's happening to my father if I'm stuck here. Only Hichigata could give me permission to leave, and he's gone. All I could do was wait. Lamenting things I couldn't change would improve my situation and would arguably make it worse. I know I couldn't trust the men of Shinsegumi completely. They were, after all, men who could take a life in the blink of an eye. It would just be as easy for them to end my life. Well, at least they've been nice to me, for now. They're a nice man deep down, right?
君さ、騙されやすい性格とか言われない？
Okita-kun. Ah! What are you doing here?
あれ？もしかして気づいてなかったとか？この時間帯は僕が君の監視役なんだけどな。
Did you hear everything I said? He heard me. He had definitely heard me. I wanted to scream, but before I could open my mouth, Saito stepped from behind the door.
掃除。無駄話はそれくらいにしておけ。
Fraternizing. Were you here the whole time too?
つい先ほど来たばかりだが。
Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry for screaming like that.
気にするな。そもそも今の独り言は聞かれて困るような内容でもないだろう。
Ah! True, I didn't say anything bad, but still. I'm just embarrassed to be caught talking to myself. Saito watched me fidgeting and mumbling, his eyes pierced right through me.
夕飯の支度が済んだのだが、邪魔をしただろうか。
Oh, yeah, nothing at all.
あんたと掃除の話に一区切りついたら声をかけるつもりだったんだが、放っておくと長引きそうだったからな。 話の腰を折らせてもらった。
So the shrug shortly before he caught the sound of footsteps approaching us noisily. Daisuke shot through the door. The moment he saw us, however, his face fell.
ああ、ちょいちょい、はじめくん。何仲良くおしゃべりしてんのさ。
すまない。取り込み中だった。
おお。まあ仕方ないな。飯の時間なんだからさ、早く行こうぜ。食うものなくなっちまうよ。
Okay.
ようやく来たか。
おめえら遅えんだよ。この俺の腹の高鳴りをどうしてくれんだ。
新発さ、それってただ腹が鳴ってるだけだろ。困るよね、こういう単純な人。
お前らが来るまで食い始めるのを待っててやった。俺様の寛大な腹に感謝しやがれ。
新八、それ寛大な心だろ。それじゃいつものように自分の飯は自分で守れよ。
今日も相変わらずせこい夕飯だよな。というわけで隣の晩ご飯突撃だい。弱肉強食の時代、俺様がいただくぜ。
ちょっと新発さん、なんで俺のおかずばっか狙うかな。
それは体の大きさだ。大きいやつにはそれなりに食う量が必要なんだよ。
じゃあ育ち盛りの俺はもっともっと食わないとね。
毎回毎回こんなんで済まないな。
I got used to it.
慣れとは恐ろしいものだな。
Weren't you thinking anything?
うん。あんまりお腹いっぱいに食べるとバカになるしね。
おいおい、バカとは聞き捨て。だがその飯はいただくぜ。
どうぞどうぞ。僕はお酒をちびちびしてればいいし。
んじゃ俺も酒にするかな。
ただご飯とか気にしないで。お腹いっぱい食べるんだよ。
I know. I can't help but feel too bad.
気にしなくてもいいが、自分の飯は自分で守れ。
Okay. Always sitting alone with the experience of dinner with these men both exhilarating and a frightening evening for me. It was actually fun.
最初からそうやって笑ってろ。俺らもお前を悪いようにはしないさ。
Aww. Harada. His mouth curled up into an honest smile of his own. And I really looked so down. Perhaps they were all trying to cheer me up. I wasn't quite sure how to feel. I was conflicted over whether or not to feel pity for myself or to appreciate the moment for what it was. The joy seems to be winning out, however, and I caught myself smiling as Inoue entered the room.
ちょっといいかいみんな。
As usual, his voice was warm, but in his eyes were a level of solemnity never seen before, at least during our brief acquaintance thus far. The warmth of the room had slowly evaporated.
大阪にいるトシさんから手紙が届いたんだが、三男さんがタイム中に重傷を負ったらしい。
No, Sandan-kun.
何があったの？
ああ、二人が訪ねる大阪の呉服屋に老師たちが無理やり押し入ったらしい。駆けつけたトシさんと三男さんがなんとか老師たちを退けたらしいが、その時に切られたそうなんだ。
Is he going to be alright?
相当の深手だと手紙に書いてあるけど、傷は左腕とのことだ。剣を握るのは難しいみたいだが、命に別状はないそうだよ。
Thank goodness. I exhaled as a brief sigh of relief, but the rest of the room was tense, still itching for answers.
数日中には屯所へたどり着くんじゃないかな。それじゃ私は勇さんと話があるから。
He turned as he spoke, his last words delivered over his shoulders, and was gone. A Saito who soon broke the awkward silence.
剣が握れないほどの深手か。腕の筋まで立たれているかもしれん。刀は片腕で容易に扱えるものではない。最悪三男さんは二度と真剣を震えない。
Oh, at last I understood.
片腕で扱えば刀の威力が損なわれる。そしてつばぜり合いになれば確実に負ける。
薬でも何でも使ってもらうしかないですね。三男さんも納得してくれるんじゃないかな。
掃除。めったなこと言うもんじゃねえ。幹部が羅刹になってどうするんだよ。
Huh? That didn't make any sense. What are the Furies?
ああ、羅刹ってのは薬を飲んだら怪我も治っちまう。
平助
Crooked move, Harada was on his feet and halfway across the room. I barely had time to gasp before he drove his fist into Heisuke.
てえなあ、も
Heisuke, are you alright?
やりすぎだぞ佐野。悪かったな平助。先に口を滑らせたこっちも悪かった。
大丈夫か悪かったな。
The moment Harada curtly nodded to Heisuke in apology, the latter offering a quick faint smile.
いや、今のは俺が悪かったけど、たくさ野さんはすぐ手が出るんだからな。
His punch had enough force to knock out the lesser men. Heisuke seemed unfazed. It was never clear how different these men were.
今の話は君が聞いちゃいけないことにほんのちょっと首を突っ込んだところだ。これ以上のことは教えられねえんだ。それとさっきの平助の話は忘れてくれ。
His voice was friendly, but his eyes gave his words a cold weight that made me feel uncomfortable.
羅刹っていうのはかわいそうな子たちのことだよ。
Okita's voice was flat and motionless. Sudden chill of melancholy entered his eyes. I could bring myself to say anything more. Thankfully, Nagakura broke the awkward
お前
silence.
さんは何も気にしなくていいんだって。だからそんな顔するなよ。
It's only a guest in their house, not a warrior, this Shinsegumi. The truth of the Shinsegumi secret were no business of mine, something I've known. There's a low value in that sentiment, however.
忘れろ。深く踏み込めばあんたの生き死ににも関わりかねない。
Arigato ne, Saito-kun. Bit my lip and kept silent. The walls between us was almost tangible, almost far too large of an obstacle for me to defeat easily. Sad. Finished my dinner in a sad silence, excused myself, and returned to my room. I had a great deal to think about. Furies, huh? Wondered myself in the Furies referred to the Rakasha picture in the Buddhist text. That wasn't well versed. I recalled reading a text of a man-eating demon god with that name. I have no idea what to start, from drinking the medicine to Captain becoming a Fury. No, I was supposed to think about those things. It's only going to get myself in trouble if I stuck my nose where I didn't belong. Seeing or hearing the wrong thing could kill me. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. Then Shinsegumi captains are keeping themselves hush around me, especially about the Furies. Are they doing it to protect me? Even if I dug around, I'm sure nothing would come up of it. That in mind, I did my best to clear my head of the evening events and slip into my futon. 1864 March. March 1864. It fast approached a month since I began living with the Shinsegumi headquarters. Hichikata and Sanan finally returned to the compound from their trip to Osaka, but the spirits were low. Sanan's injury had foreseen consequences for everyone in the organization. Day-to-day operations became hectic for a little while. His wounds seemed quite dire, and they drained whatever goodness of his nature he hoped to keep. Sanan would spend his days holed up in his room, protected by a barrier of impenetrable silence. If he were to leave his room on a rare occasion now, he was often short-tempered and quickly retreated. Even though I too spent in the exile of my room, he seemed to take it much differently. Sanan seemed trapped with a painful memory, each day bringing him closer to a gloomy twilight. I softly pondered what service I could offer to the Shinsegumi if I were not allowed to search for my father. I'm sure Hichigata is overwhelmed with whatever business he's dealing with, but I need to visit him. Realize that the tension's so high that it's better to have Hichigata on my side rather than not. I crept around the hall looking for Hichigata, but he was nowhere to be seen. It would have been polite to visit his room directly. As I paced around the hall in contemplation, an unknown warrior appeared before me. Eh? Been living in the Yagi residence for a month, but he was unfamiliar to me. Who the F? My current dilemma compelled me to approach him. Excuse me, have you seen Hijikata? Man turned to respond, my eyes wet and scanned his enormous frame before he spoke.
お前はどこの誰だ？なぜここにいる？
Well, it's a long story.
誰だと聞いている。
I am Chizuru Yukimura.
ほう。副長が故障に取り立てたという見習い大使とは、お前のことか。
Hi. I wasn't aware they were telling people that I was an apprentice warrior at the headquarters. Ever my reputation was the last thing on my mind as I faced this man's pressuring gaze. Didn't appreciate the harsh stupidity he seems to impose, scanning me from head to toe.
お前、局長や副長とはどんな関係だ？同じ江戸の出身らしいが、どんな縁故を使って取り入った？
I did no such
そう
thing.
向きになるところを見ると、ますます怪しいぞ。ここは、お前のような剣の腕も才覚もなさそうなものが、うろうろしていいところではないんだがな。もう一度聞く。どうやってあの二人に取り入った？この私、武田観柳斎が聞いているのだぞ。なぜ答えない？
I can't answer you. He grew increasingly agitated, almost like a petulant child, because I refused to answer him. He reached out his massive hand over towards me as if it get me, and a voice stopped him.
おい武田、こんなところで何をしている？
When he recognized Hijikata's voice, he snapped his hand back to his side.
これは土方副長。何？近藤局長に少々用がありましてね。
ほう。俺は何も聞いちゃいないが。
最近お姿が見えない三段総長の代わりに相談に乗ってほしいと言われているのです。しかし近藤局長もいらっしゃらないようなので、私はこれで失礼します。
I had turned to take his leave, but then he slowed his step, leaving us with a few words.
ところで、土方副長。そのものを故障に取り立てたというのは本当ですか？
ああ、少しばかり訳ありでな。
承知しました。訳ありならば、詳しく聞くのはやめておきましょう。ですが、あまり同じ郷里のものばかりを周りに囲うのはいかがなものかと思います。では、失礼。
Looks like I exited the hall. I couldn't help but feel a rush of relief.
おい雪村、豚書の中を勝手に歩くんじゃねえ。
I didn't mean to cause trouble.
お前の正体を知っているのはこのヤギ邸に寝起きしてるやつだけだ。前川邸からこっちに来るやつらには気をつけろ。いいな。
I promise to be more careful on going forward. Some I asked who that man was.
あいつか。5番組組長の武田観柳斎ってやつだ。腕はそこそこだが、文学だか軍学の多少の知恵を持ってるやつだ。抜け目のないやつだからな。気をつけろ。それから、用がないならお前もこの辺でうろうろしてないで部屋に戻っていろ。
I'm bored. Michigata attempted to dismiss me, having said what he felt was appropriate as a stern commander. I didn't get many chances to see Hijikata, so I took the opportunity to offer my aid to the house. I should have a favor to ask of you, Hijikata. Staying in my room for long periods alone makes me feel terribly useless. Would you please give me something to do? I'll do anything. Cleaning, laundry, anything. Hijikata sensed the sincerity of my plea, and it appeared as though he actually considered it.
部屋にこもっているのはそんなに退屈か？
A little.
わかった。源さんに伝えておくから、後で指示を仰げ。
Really?
その代わり、あまり外から来たやつと関わるんじゃねえぞ。いいな。
Arigato. I Next day, Inoue informed me that I was given one of freedom within headquarters, which allowed me to exit my room freely. My duties include cleaning, laundry, and cooking. Not the most glamorous of chores, of course. However, it gave me an opportunity to occupy myself as opposed to going stir crazy in my room. Yeah, it's fun. June? Wow, we've been here for 5 months? God damn. June 1864. The fourth year of the Bunkyu era became the Ganji Hanen, the summer's sweet moon blossom. Spring shed its blooming skin, giving birth to lush green trees facing the wide open sky. During one of those beautiful summer days, I finished cleaning after everyone ate breakfast. Saito brought me to the hall of Ichigata.
副長、斉藤です。雪村を連れてまいりました。
入る。
Saito responded by quickly opening the sliding doors, which gesturing me to enter the room. Upon entering, I saw Hijikata, but also Okita, Nagakura, Harada, and Nehesuke in the hall. It appeared that only the captains who were aware of my situation were present.
随分と長く待たせたな。お前を外に出してやる時が来た。
Yahoo! Really? I could barely contain excitement in my voice as soon as the words came out of his mouth. So it's true there was a man in Fushimi that matched my father's profile?
真偽は定かじゃねえが、本人かどうかは娘のお前に確かめてもらうのが一番だと思ってな。
I nodded in response. For now, any information pertaining to my father was appreciated, so I was thankful. So, where is this man who supposedly looked like my
伏
father?
見にある寺田屋って宿だ。これから斎藤に確かめに行ってもらう。
Saito is a sign? Not sure if this one meant the Gopponi Saito or I have to wait longer for him. Then Harada chimed in.
だが行動さんがまだそこにとどまってるとは限らねえだろう。
ああ、伏見にいたってことは今日の街中をうろついてる可能性もある。
その通りだ。だから原田と新八、それから平助の巡察にこいつを同行させて高堂さんを探してもらってもいい。
俺たち全員で？いつもは手分けして順番に見回りしてるのに。
Ichigata did not bother entertaining a response. Instead, he looking towards me. Was he suggesting this were the men who were responsible for dealing with me? Should I attempt to flee? Isuke must have sensed this as well, so he made no attempt to push the issue any further.
言いたいことは分かりましたけど、この子のおもりを僕たちに任せっぱなしってのは気に入らないな。今日は確か土方さんも外出する予定が入ってましたよね。今後のためにも可愛い故障を同行させていろいろ勉強させたらどうですか？
Or happy with Okita-kun?
何を言ってやがる。こいつが俺の故障っつうのはお前が勝手に言ってただけだろうが。
でも他の大使たちは完全にそう信じ込んでるみたいですよ。嘘から出た誠なんて言葉もありますし、相応の仕事をさせた方がいいんじゃないですか。
So Okita and Ichigata bickered to one another in the middle of the room, were locking in intense words, until Harada whispered to me.
まあ今の今日は物騒だし、無理に出かける必要はねえと思うぜ。俺たちも一応高堂さんの顔はわかるんだしな。
Good luck for my father in Fushimi, or join the patrol rounds, assuming he moved places. Or stay here to keep safe from the outside. Or accompany Hijikata as his page. What should I do? Obviously. Okay, I think this is Okita, right? This is obviously Hijikata. This is gonna be one of the three. I'm going to Fushimi, because I want to be with Saito. My father might be Fushimi. I want to find out. But if I already left Fushimi, there was a chance I could find a lead to his next location. I already made up my mind. I will go to Terada Inn. Saito, would you mind if I come along with you?
わかった。
Wakatta. See? Arigato. Wow, I couldn't believe I might see my father. Heart pounded heavily in my chest, and I did my best to keep my composure and bow. The air was slightly humid, a thin dampness permeating despite no signs of rain.
あんたにとっては久方ぶりの外出だな。体調の方はどうだ？
It was even longer since I've worn straw sandals, so blister formed around my strap. I'm fine. was eager to see my father was nearby, so I ignored any minor distractions around
So
us. It seems I took could read through my words and pretended to ignore my discomfort. We were heading to Fushimi, which is south of Kyoto. Ichikata mentioned that my father was staying at the Raria Inn, but how do you even know if it's legit?
観察型からもたらされた情報だ。その宿に剃髪の乱暴医が登竜しているらしいとな。
A bald doctor. I grew restless with anticipation from Saito's words, and my heart couldn't contain itself. Could this person really be my father? How many bald men practice this field of
先を
study?
急ぐぞ。疲れが出てきたら言え。
Okay. I had to make sure Saito doesn't see me as a burden, so I tucked my strap and hurriedly with him. Shortly after, we reached Tarada Inn located in Fushimi. Is my father really here? The inn itself looked well kept from the outside, but Fushimi stirred in the background. I clutched my throat nervously as I approached the door, but I waited for Saito to instruct me.
向かいに茶店があるな。入ることとしよう。
Wait, we're going through the tea shop? I didn't go in and immediately snoop around. I had so many questions both for him and my father. I was set to seem very calculated, scanning the area since we arrived, so it felt best to trust his judgment. We entered the tea shop around the other side, and Saito began scoping the Tarada Inn. Saito led me to a seat near the shop's balcony, and he whispered discreetly into my ear.
寺田屋はもともと薩摩藩御用達の宿と言われていてな。そのためか西国の老子が立ち寄ることが多いと言われているんだ。
From the west? From what I know, the Choso domain was connected to Imperial Ronin from the west as well. Does that mean for my father to be here?
わからない。単なる偶然か。あるいは。
Oh no, surely it's coincidence. Said will look at me but didn't respond. The possibility of my father conducting business in Fushimi now pointed an implicit relationship between him and the imperialists. That couldn't be the case. My father explicitly told me he was visiting Kyoto under direct orders of the shogunate. Surely there is a reason for the confusion. What kind of reason would he have being here?
とはいえ会津藩お預かりという我々の立場を考えると不用意に寺田屋に立ち入るわけにもいかぬ。故にあんたにはここで宿に出入りする客の様子を確かめてもらおうと思うのだが構わんか。
Huh? You want me to watch it? Sato wasn't my babysitter, but I appreciate some backup if something went wrong. Does Saito trust me enough for him to take his eyes off me? He didn't want to mess things up. Sato overlooking I spoke to comfort me.
俺は尊攘派の老子に顔を覚えられているかもしれぬ。ここで張り込みをするのは差し障りがあろう。案ずるな。俺も近くで情報集めを行うつもりだ。何かあればすぐに駆けつける。
How reassuring! Alright, I'm holding to you to that.
頼んだぞ。
Hi. Sato stood quite quickly and disappeared into the crowd, leaving me in my seat at the tea shop. I had to play the part, so I gathered my bearings in my new surrounding, approached a customer visiting the shop for question. For a second, I had to remember I was there for a mission, but it felt like I was a spy in a play. To gather some intel from customers, confirmed sightings of a bald doctor of Western medicine who frequented Darada Inn until a few days ago. Unfortunately, the reeds ran dry for anything during the past 2 or 3 days. Looks like we may have just missed him. I braced myself for the possibility that the lead was false. Even still, it was discouraging to come up with nothing. This was no time to be upset, though. Maybe he would return to the inn after finishing whatever business it was that took him away. Longing for a loved one to return is like waiting for a wound to heal. Forever the memory of the time before the pain seeps into every moment after. With the approval of the tea shop's owner, I watched the happenings of Terada Inn from the shop's balcony. Just then, a mysterious visitor approached me.
人間違うだが、誰かと待ち合わせか?
Huh? He caught me off guard. Had me watching me, I turned around, nearly clutching my kodachi. Eh? Nugu? He took a seat near me, staring at my hand as if to reassure me from harm. Who was this man? He didn't look like anyone I've seen before.
どうした?ぼーっとして。待ってるんじゃなきゃ誰か探してるのか?
Oh no. I shook my head, unsure if he could be trusted. You seem well? I'm looking for my father.
おお、親父さんを。って何か訳ありみたいだな。話してみろよ。もしかしたら力になれるかもしれないぜ。
I'm not sure. I contemplated whether or not this man would have known my father. Even possibly that telling this man anything would jeopardize me. Never any information he could have may help. My father visited Kyoto on a business trip, but he suddenly keys communication with me. Rumors surfaced that someone with his likeness came to this inn and I had to see for myself.
あんた、東国の生まれだろ。
Yes, I came from Edo.
そいつは大変だな。こっちの土地勘もないだろうし。
He's not to be trusted.
よし、わかった。俺も付き合ってやるよ。
いやいや、大丈夫、大丈夫。Huh? Well, Sure it's fun. ありがとうね。Oh no, thank you. Please, don't take any offense, but I only just met you, and it would be rude for it to ask for your help. He furrowed his brows deeply, pausing to think before speaking again.
だがあんた、困ってるんだろ？今日に来たばかりなら、つてもろくにないだろうし。
Oh yes, it's true, I'm not from here. I'm trying to catch my smoke. My father being here might just be a rumor after all. Your parents trouble you with something that may just be an obstinate rumor.
なるほど、なるほど。
なるほど、なるほど。He smiled kindly and nodded in agreement. We can be with
それなら
him?
それ
Who
で
is
別にいい
he?
さ。どうせ退屈してるところだしな。
Oh my god, there's so many guys in this game. I thought it was like just the 4 Shinsegumi. Okay. I mean, we'll see where it went. You look for someone to help after?
いいからいいから。袖振り合うも多少の縁なんて言うだろ。俺に任せておけって。
Ah, I see. Well, thank you. Anyway, I thought I was firm in how to reject his offer, but it just kept pressing the issue. Repeatedly refused his love, but for whatever reason he would insist on being a gentleman. In the end, it would seem he didn't actually respect my position or my agency. Thank you for trying to help, Mr.
俺の名前か？俺は埼玉に埋め太郎って言うんだ。よろしくね。
Yoroshiku-na? His face remained calm behind a wry smile. Ah, Saitani-san. My name is Yukimura. Very nice to meet you.
雪村ちゃんな。
Chan?
名は体を表すなんて言うが、そのまんまだな。
You think my name matches my
で
figure?、
下の名前はきっとあんたによく似合う可愛い名前なんだろうが。
Well, cute is kind of a stretch. If I told him my name was Chizuru Yukimura, he might suspect me to be a woman.
まあいいか。女っていうのはいくつも秘密があるっていうしな。
After he said those words, I gasped and covered my mouth with my hands. Wait a minute, Saitani-san. I am not a
い
woman.
や、どこをどう見ても女だろう。それとも俺をバカにしてるのか？
I would never take you as a fool.
ま、こんな可愛い娘がうろうろしてたら、周りの男が放っておかないだろうし、男の格好してるのは正解だと思うぜ。
Thanks. The nonchalance of his response made me practically faint from
で、
relief.
あんたの下の名前は何と言うんだ？
Considering he's already figured out I'm a woman, I see no harm in being honest with him, but my name, don't! You're supposed to keep a low profile. My name is Chizuru Yukimura.
なるほど。思った通り、あんたにぴったりの可愛い名前だな。
You think so?
で、あんたはどういう男が好みなんだ？男と出かけるんならどういう場所がいい？
Oh, sorry, sir. This is very sudden. I am very flattered, but say the good. Don't call. Say that he says. We're not talking about me right now. I thought you were trying to help look for my father.
そういや、そうだったな。すっかり忘れてたぜ。
He's just heading up on ladies. Satani's Helen appeared in engaging, seemingly endless conversation. She was the first outside of Shinsegumi with whom I spoke, I completely lost track of time. How Luckily, Saito appeared to rescue me. Thank you. Thank you, Saito.
雪村、待たせてすまなかったな。今戻った。
Ah, Saito-kun.
なんだ、お仲間が帰ってきちまったのか。そんじゃ、これ以上の手助けは無用かな。
Arigato. Bye, go. His hand? What's happening with his hand there? Saitani stood up from his seat slowly, appearing dejected as if broken his heart.
それじゃあな。縁があればまた会おうぜ。
Oh, maybe. If I could tell him goodbye, Saitani had wandered off. Saito focused on him, making sure he was out of earshot, and murmured quietly in my ear.
今の男は
I don't know, babe. I don't know. He snuck up behind me earlier. Supposedly, his name is Saitani. Where did it go? Were you able to find anything useful about my father?
それについては帰る道すがら話すが、期待はせぬ方がいいとだけ言っておこう。
Right. Oh. My stomach dropped from his words, and assuming meant the lead was false. Clutched my fist tightly, fighting back angry tears. I couldn't let Saito see my disappointment.
待っていてくれ。今あんたの分の感情を済ませてくる。
Okay. Saito and I headed back to the base. I noticed fireflies grouping in circles as he updated me. While doctors saying Terada Ing was in fact someone different than my father, who just happened to match his description.
すまんな。わざわざあんたに伏見まで同行してもらったというのに。
Oh, please don't worry. Even though we learned something about my father, I said we are able to get some fresh air. That's nice. Still, what did you say? Okay. Saito looked at me reassuringly, and his face lit brightly as he remembered something.
そういえば、先ほどあんたと話していた男のことだが。
Oh, you mean Saitani-san?
妙な男だったな。一見人好きするように見えたが、立ち居振る舞いには隙が全くなかった。
Huh? Because I didn't notice. I mean, Saitani-san didn't seem guarded at all, judging by how open he was with his stories. I see something troubling you about him, Saito-kun. Without any response, looking away from my face.
剣の心得がある者は目を見ればわかる。おそらく脱藩浪人の類だろう。この辺りで寝泊まりしているとすれば、薩摩や西国にゆかりがあるものかもしれん。
Ronin. It's pretty jovial to be a lordless samurai, especially the ones causing trouble in Kyoto. From what it seemed like in our conversation, he was the first thankful warrior.
気を許さぬ方がいいだろうな。昨今の今日の治安を考えると、用心に用心を重ねておくに越したことはあるまい。
Understood. I wonder who Saitani man really was. The first adventure into Fushimi taught me many things, and I could only wait what come next. Okay. Chapter 2. That means we finished chapter 1. Also, oh! You know what happened to you? We didn't get the cutscene that's supposed to happen. So, I guess we missed something. But, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching. This was really fun. This is actually really different with my PSP experience. First of all, I never met the Saitani guy, so who the F was he? I never met the purple hair guy, who the F was he? Also, at the first time I was like forcing myself into the route of Saito-kun and Okita-kun, like one of them. So yeah. So I didn't meet the trio. I didn't went to Fushimi because I was like, okay, Okita's not here. I'm going back to my save. So this was fun to see where it lands. I'm still trying to get either Saito or Okita because I really like them. If not Harada, maybe. The others, I'm like, eh. I don't really like Shinpachi. Heisuke looks too young for me. So I don't know, but if we end up with them, that's fine. I like them all anyways. So yeah, well, again, I felt this is quite different. Like I think it's still gonna be redundant in like the prologue and stuff, but I think it's still replayable if I just keep a longer distance like Hashihime, you know? Like I played it after a while, so I kinda like forgot, and it's not like I'm rereading the same story over and over. Anyway, I'm ranting. I need to end this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for your time. I hope you are enjoying the new series Hakuoki. This is gonna be a long one. And there's also the second game, which I'm also very excited. Also, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying also. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Sayonara.